how presenting Islam positively or negatively affect non-Muslims?
I think today we live in a small, global village. What happens in the Middle East, within no time, will be known in Australia, in America, everywhere. With power of media, and we live in a digital age. People find out, what's happening in your neighborhood in no time. I think the most important issue here is the Muslim attitudes have to change. And I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry in a way. But I have to tell Muslims this, that we have to get our act right.
No, we don't really have to be sorry at all.
We have to get our act right.
Yeah, of course.
We are in a mess.
Either they do the dawah in a right way or not.
Our religion, but we don't really understand it and practice it ourselves. So it's very important that you'll have the blessings if you're really convinced and believe in something yourself. If you believe in a product, it's half the job, selling it. But if you don't believe in it, you're just doing a half-hearted try. One of the biggest negatives is the born Muslim's attitude. Attitude towards life, towards non-Muslims, and it is so negative that it leaves, impression everywhere that don't go anywhere near these people.
Yeah.
And it is very important that that we live Islam. Once you live Islam, you don't have to give dawah. That is dawah. When people see, and Islam is very
exemplifying
practical. It's very, very practical, very practical religion. And when we, see people ask you a question, no matter how uncomfortable you are with it, how difficult it is, you have to tackle it. If you haven't got the answers to people's problems or people's issues, and also, you see, it's very important that you look at the person that you call into Islam, and you make a decision that whether you to go forward or to stop and back off. It's very important, because there will be people, and I've met so many of those people who became Muslims in the end, but they were seeking for the truth. They are looking for the truth. They've looked at the Christianity, looked at the Judaic faith, they look at the the Buddhism, they look at the other religions, and then finally, because I've worked with so many new Muslims and non-Muslims, and I know that one new Muslim conducted a research of new Muslims. At that time, there was only a few thousand new Muslims in Britain, and his conclusion were that not one thing led him to, or the majority of the people who answered and took part in this survey, that not one single thing led to them becoming Muslims. Every little nice incident pushed them nearer towards Islam. So there's a chain of events that took place in their life.
Yeah.
They saw something positive about Islam and Muslims, and that brought them closer to looking more into Islam. And then something else happened.
I think you were talking about those people who really wants to know what the truth is.
Yes.
Well, I mean, moving to this point will raise another question here.
Yeah.
Some of other people, like those people who are very interested in learning about the truth, they keep searching in different religions, as you said. But I mean, let's speak about those people who are fearing, those people who feels afraid of understanding. And sometimes, I mean, nowadays, as you see, as you said, if something happened in the neighborhood, you just know right away. And I mean, things are different than before. And I'm sure dawah also is, the ways and the methods are different. How do you think we can deal with the fears?
There's enough damage being inflicted by Muslims themselves on Muslims. I can, whenever I talk to non-Muslims, I can defend Islam. I can defend Islam all day long. But I will never always defend all the Muslims in their actions.
I see.
You see what I'm saying? Looking at there's Muslims out there doing terrible things in the name of Islam. You cannot defend them. And people have reasons to be frightened.
That's one of the the greatest things happening in terms of stereotyping, that people, if I want to define Islam, I would look at the actions of the people, but not at the Quran, not at the Sunnah.
Well, like many Muslims will tell you, that if they hadn't read the Quran, looked at the Muslim, they would have never become Muslims. But I think that I was telling a story about this gentleman I used to shop with, and his son. It's a family business running into third generation.
Yeah.
And they asked me a question. They said, Shabir, what do you think of these people who said that they put the flag of Islam under 10 Downing Street? 10 Downing Street is the official residence of Prime Minister of Britain.
Yeah.
So thinking that Muslims are going to take over. So I said, excellent question. So we made a cup of tea, we sat down, and I started explaining to them. I said, look, you guys in this country, I've lived here for 40 years, and I've dealt with local people. You live 90% of Islam. Whereas we Muslims maybe only living 5 to 10%.
Were you surprised by his question?
No, I expect, I get these questions all the time. And I have a way of dealing with these people. I said, I tell you how that's going to happen, if it's going to happen. I said, Prophet of Islam sent his message to all the non-Muslim governments surrounding Arabia. He said, we don't want your countries. We don't want your power. You keep it. All we want you to do is, we want to give you something beautiful, which is Islam. So here, in this case, I said that we foreigners, who come to live in your country, we will not do that. I said, you already live 90% Islam. When you see that 10% that you need to adopt and change your life, and maybe one day, majority of you guys become Muslims. And then maybe you put the flag of Islam on 10 Downing Street. But we will not be able to do it, because we are so far away from Islam. You guys are already living. This is very important, that you see the strength in these people. I told him, I gave an example. I said, if I were to buy a car, I said, I would much rather buy it from a white man, a local British guy, than a Muslim. Because Muslims are supposed to tell you the truth, but they will not. They will hide the truth. If there's any problems with the car, they won't tell you. But whereas a white guy will be straight with you, and he will tell you if there's a problem. So this is what Islam teaches you: to be honest, to be straight, and you already have that in you. So it's when you realize that there's already so much Islam in you, you just got to accept the Shahada and adjust your life a little bit, and you become far better Muslim than me.
Yeah. And
you will be put in the not
it's
the
very
outside.
nice that you're even giving the example of yourself, like you could be a better Muslim than me.
Of course. And thing is that, you see, people are frightened when the change comes from the outside. When the outsiders come and say, oh, we're going to do this with Egypt, we're going to do this. But if the Egyptians themselves do it, then it's not an objection. It's not a problem.
Yeah.
You see, people always, always fight the outside influence.
Yeah.
But we have enough Muslims who are irresponsibly, stupidly saying that, we're going to bring Khilafah into this, we're going to bring Khilafah into that.
Yeah.
What Khilafah?
People think about it in a wrong way. Like, they think about it forcefully. Like,
yeah, you see, but Muslims give them that impression. You see, this is the negative side of Muslims. That, they're given that impression that we're going to change things with force.
Yeah, you're very right. I mean, I know so many people who think that Islam is about spreading power, taking over.
Yeah, but it's completely opposite. Islam is not there to take. Islam is there to give. You see, this is where Muslims are badly messed up. Whichever society they're in, they all take.
Yeah, true.
For example, charity. We should be the makers of the charity. But right now, probably the Muslim countries are the biggest takers of the charity. Where does it come, the upper hand? When there's a disaster strikes the Western world, even though they're very rich and very resourceful, but a good gesture will
still add value to them.
Of course it'll add value. And
it
it'll
does.
look good.
Yeah.
And that would be a fantastic dawah.
True.
To these people. If we just maybe whatever we can afford,
Yeah, I think what you mean is just like working on the two types. Try as much as you can to be
And
part of the primary, and as a secondary by your actions and your attitude towards
and one thing
Islam.
that Brother Jan said that that I actually, because there's so much involved in dawah, is food.
Yeah.
You know, if you invite people to your dining table, you know, your neighbor,
It does matter.
your friend, you know, really the food works wonders.
And in Malawi, they have very nice food that
Yeah,
we spoke about before.
And
That's very
of
encouraging.
course, you know, the thing is that 34% of the population of Malawi is Muslims.
Yeah.
It's a big minority.
Yeah.
It's not small, and they can make and break the government. You know, they can. I mean, thing is that, you know, this is another problem we have.
Yeah.
We want to use the wrong ways to get into power.
Yeah.
You know, you could play within the system.
I'm very happy you brought
And-
this point. Yeah.
And you know, it's very important that giving dawah, an important factor, giving dawah in non-Muslim world,
Mhm.
is that you have to make sure that you and all the people who are carrying out this mission, they don't break the law of that country. You know, Muslims, when they make a covenant with somebody, they honor it.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know, you don't go around, you know, bashing their laws and breaking them and then inviting them to Islam.
Yeah.
You know, what kind of, you know, message you giving? You know, it's
Exactly. That's very important.
that we're seen as
Yeah.
law-abiding citizens, and we.
Yeah.
Huda TV's social media sites are the best way to contact us from anywhere around the world. Stay connected with Huda TV's latest news and programs through Facebook, Twitter, Google+, YouTube, Skype, and Instagram. It's fast and easy. Stay up to date with your favorite shows and scholars today. Huda TV, a light in every home.